So that's what I anticipate as far as free agency continuing. Talking about free agency, though, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so we've seen some guys stay, we've seen some guys go, and it's unfortunate to see some of these guys go, especially some of the fan favorites. It is unfortunate. Some of my favorite players are not coming back. I'm sure some of your favorite players are not coming back. The good news is the Rams still exist, and we can find new favorite players that are on the roster today that we can root for and have a good time with. But let's go ahead and start. So we'll start with one of the biggest names, safety John Johnson. I did not anticipate John Johnson coming back. It doesn't even sound like the Rams really tried. It sounds like they kind of knew he had priced himself out of the LA Rams. I also think that the arrival and performance of Jordan Fuller and Terrell Burgess at the safety position, two guys who were rookies last year, I think that their presence kind of played into that a little bit, where we didn't necessarily need to spend big money because we can get production out of younger guys on lower deals. So John Johnson was a third-round pick in 2017. He has officially signed now with the Cleveland Browns. So he will be going out there to play with Stefanski, who's an awesome coach, honestly. I think the Cleveland Browns are headed in the right direction. I don't know, as far as that division, that's a weird division to kind of predict with the Ravens and Steelers and stuff, but hey, the Browns got one heck of a safety this offseason. So John Johnson, man, it's unfortunate to see him go. He was definitely a fan favorite. I really enjoyed watching him play with the LA Rams, but now he's in Cleveland. Next up, we'll go to running back Malcolm Brown, who was one of the St. Louis Rams. Made the trip over to LA with the team. He was undrafted in 2015, and of course that was the final year for the St. Louis Rams. And Malcolm Brown, he's going to be running the rock for the Miami Dolphins. So he's going from one place with palm trees to another one. All right, so he's going to see nice weather no matter what. So that's cool for Malcolm. But Malk, he's been one of those guys who was kind of a little bit of a workhorse. I've been saying it for years that he's going to be a starter for somebody and he's going to be productive for somebody. At the time, the Rams had Todd Gurley, and I thought that was going to be the reason that Malcolm Brown left. The reason that Malcolm Brown's leaving now, it seems like it may have been a cap decision, but also Cam Akers coming in, and Darrell Henderson, I think he's done enough, but Cam Akers is, I think, the reason that Malcolm Brown's not back. Next up, we'll go to another St. Louis Ram, the former longest tenured Ram, Jake Mcquaid, the long snapper, undrafted in 2011 to St. Louis. He, like I said, he was the longest tenured Ram. That went to Michael Brockers. Now that's over. So now it's going to be Johnny Hekker as the longest tenured Ram. Michael Brockers was the longest tenured Ram for all of about 20 minutes or so. So either way, Jake Mcquaid, he does reunite with Coach Bones and Greg Zuerlein in Dallas, so he will now be a Cowboy. So unfortunate to see him go too, and I don't know why this one kind of hurts my feelings, but it's like Jake Mcquaid, the long snapper. It's like, man, why would you do that, man? Like, come on back. But hey, you can't keep everybody. Next up, we'll go to linebacker Samson Ebukam. We no longer have to watch commentators struggle to say his name except for twice a year. He was the 4th-round pick in 2017, and he has now signed with the San Francisco 49ers, so a rival team that he goes over to, a team that the Rams did not beat last year. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully Samson Ebukam was the reason that those losses were happening, and he carries those losses to the San Francisco 49ers. Not likely. I'm sure that the Rams didn't lose those games because of Samson Ebukam, but hey, I can dream, can't I? And the 49ers did get a linebacker with an extremely high motor, but does need to work on his fundamentals of pass rushing and use of hands. Didn't take a lot of tips from AD, I'm seeing over there, Samson. And now I can say that on the show because I wasn't going to say it if you were on the Rams. But man, you got to use your hands better, dude. Not anymore, though. You keep doing what you're doing. Next up, we'll go to Morgan Fox, who was definitely one of my favorite players. His jersey sitting over here. His Rams bone gray jersey sitting right over here. Because I am in Fountain, Colorado, his hometown. He was undrafted in 2016, so that was that first year in LA. He has now signed with the Carolina Panthers on a 2-year deal. So Foxy goes out to Carolina. He is no longer with the Rams. This is one of the players that I actually predicted was staying because I felt like he was kind of an underrated production kind of guy, and now he's going to be out with the Carolina Panthers. Next up, we'll go to tight end Gerald Everett. This is a guy that I did have predicted leaving the LA Rams, mainly because he just kind of disappeared from the production standpoint. He also just wasn't really on the field. Can you remember watching him play in the playoffs? We had 2 playoff games this year, one's against the Seattle Seahawks and one against the Green Bay Packers. I don't remember seeing Gerald Everett at all in those games. I think I may remember seeing him in the Seattle game for like a play, but that's really it. I didn't really catch him a lot, so I fully expected him to leave. He was a second-round pick in 2017 by the LA Rams. He is now signing with the Seattle Seahawks, so that's going to be an interesting move to see because he was one of those players. He is one of those players that didn't necessarily have the best hands, had decent hands, pretty good hands. I would say above average, but definitely not the best, especially at the tight end position for a guy who really is more of a receiving tight end than a blocking tight end. But now he's going to be with the Seattle Seahawks. Difficult to tackle. That was always my appreciation for Gerald Everett, was that he was difficult to tackle. You didn't know for sure if he was going to catch the football, but if he did, it was going to take 3 or 4 guys to take him down. So hopefully, the Raheem Morris defense of the LA Rams can figure out how to tackle Gerald Everett at a consistent basis, at least 2 games a year. So that's going to happen. Derek Rivers is a guy that we also had predicted leaving. He's going to go to the Houston Texans. Cornerback Darius Williams gets a first-round tender. He is expected to get the first-round tender. That's already done. I wrote these notes a while ago. So he did get the first-round tender, and so he'll be sticking around. That basically gives the Rams first right of refusal. He is free to negotiate with other teams or at least receive offers from other teams. But the Rams can just match that offer, and then that's it. Then they just keep him. Or they can just say, nah, you guys take him. We'll take your first-round pick. So that's how that's going to work. I do fully anticipate that Darius Williams will be wearing a horn on his helmet in the 2021 season. And not a Viking horn. It's a Ram horn. Let's see here. Other remaining free agents for the Rams that I don't expect back. I don't expect any of these guys back anymore, especially seeing the way that the offseason has unfolded and seeing the way that the free agency period has kind of unfolded as well. These are all just basically the remaining free agents of the Rams, but I don't anticipate any of these guys back, all right? Austin Blythe, Troy Hill, Blake Bortles, Josh Reynolds, Johnny Mundt. I don't anticipate any of those guys coming back. I don't know where they're going to go. I don't have predictions for you guys or anything. I just don't anticipate them being Rams. Austin Blythe, would love Austin Blythe back. Would love Josh Reynolds back. Would love Troy Hill back, honestly. Troy Hill had more defensive touchdowns than anybody in the NFL in the 2020 season. And Johnny Mundt, I just don't see a reason that the Rams would bring him back. I think the Rams have plenty of depth there. I know that we just lost Gerald Everett, but still. So you got through another clip of Ram Showcase. What I think you should do now is hit the subscribe button. If you've already done that, check out a different video that I know you guys are going to love. But make sure you subscribe. Definitely that, though. Peace, go Rams!